So if you're anything like me and you watched the recent official gameplay teaser clip that DICE posted on their social media accounts, you'll be super excited for what 2042 has in store. It was a really short clip. It didn't give a whole lot away, but it did show you the sort of game that Battlefield 2042 is going to be. Of course, with the new specialist Irish, bringing back some of those Battlefield 4 campaign memories. Some of those memories I didn't really want to remember because the campaign wasn't that good, but some of the characters are good to see. Maybe it is paving the way for the return of some other Battlefield characters from campaigns of the past. Anyway, this video is going to be taking a little look at what I think about 2042 so far. Of course, the marketing I think has been brilliant. I really enjoy everything that they're posting, and I think that releasing little snippets of gameplay like they've been doing to kind of counter some of these leaks that we've been seeing is a really good way to do it. I'll say right away, I haven't been covering the leaks on this channel. I won't be covering them. I suggest that if you want that sort of stuff, you go elsewhere. For me, I think that if you leak a game after you've signed an NDA, especially when testing it and getting early access to it, well, it's just really scummy, isn't it? So you don't want to be doing that. I try not to support that sort of action. And anyway, we've got plenty of official stuff to focus on. In this one, we are just going to take a look at some positives and I guess a couple of negatives, a couple of things that I'm a bit apprehensive about when it comes to Battlefield 2042. But for the most part, I think we're onto a winner here, and it does look like it's going to be a superb game. So from a positive standpoint, it really does look like DICE know exactly what they want to create with this game. That was a problem with BF5, they didn't really know which direction to go, or at least that's what it seemed from the outside looking in. With 2042, you've got a big all-out war sandbox, something for everybody. It seems to be linking back to Battlefield 4 as well, with those only in Battlefield moments. Loads of vehicles, loads of infantry, all fighting over objectives on these huge modes. The maps are massive. The destruction looks to be next level, and 128 players, of course, is a huge step forward for a lot of people. The setting is just what people wanted, and whilst it's slightly futuristic, most people just wanted modern, but slightly futuristic, it does allow DICE a lot of freedom in terms of what weapons, vehicles, gadgets, and locations they want to include. The biggest positive, though, for me, is the Battlefield portal. Ripple Effect Studios have done something quite spectacular with the Battlefield builder, and I'm hoping it does pave the way for more community-made content further down the line. That's the big thing for me. Battlefield Portal, being able to play the older games, change the settings, and with the logic editor essentially doing whatever you want, making your own modes. The replayability factor there is higher than it has ever been with any Battlefield game before, in my opinion. Now moving on to the things that have a question mark above them. As I said, they're not negatives just yet, but they're things that I think could be a problem further down the line. I personally haven't actually been involved in any technical playtests yet, and I'm eagerly awaiting some hands-on experience with 2042. I've not played it yet, I've not seen anything really, I just want to get into maybe the open beta in September, but we'll see what happens. That being said, you can see from the outside looking in that the game is gigantic. Not just in terms of the maps, but the sheer amount of content that DICE is looking to bring to the game. That does raise a few questions. We've got the main Conquest and Breakthrough modes on 128 player maps, then Hazard Zone, then Battlefield Portal. 3 huge projects. The last time we saw two things running side by side was with Battlefield 5 and then Firestorm. Even though Firestorm was created by a separate studio with Criterion, it was clearly unfinished in my opinion when it was released, and it was missing a bunch of features. It did have potential, it was fun at times, people did enjoy it, but the proof is in the numbers, and realistically it didn't really have any. Everybody left it after a short amount of time and went back to playing Battlefield 5 or another game altogether. Development for Firestorm was dropped, and keeping it updated alongside the main Battlefield game just didn't work. I can't see DICE making the same mistake again. They've obviously got a huge amount of people working on Battlefield 2042, but if we're being super critical here, I am a little worried that the sheer amount of content we're receiving is maybe too good to be true. I can't see all 3 of these different experiences being updated and coming out with new content every season. I really hope I'm wrong. You can't really win in this situation. If there's not enough content, people complain. If there's loads of content, I'm complaining. Listen, all I'm saying is I just want to wait until the game comes out before I'm fully on board with this sheer amount of content that we're seeing. Something else that has got me questioning the approach just a little bit are the specialists. From the outside looking in, the specialists would appear to be a nightmare to balance, and a very obvious meta will become apparent within the first few weeks of play. I imagine we'll see one specialist being super popular, everybody's playing them, they've got the best gadget. Obviously you can take whatever you want in terms of weapons, so there'll be a pretty strong loadout that everyone runs, maybe a rocket launcher, a sniper rifle and medkit, or whatever it is. And you're probably going to see a lot of repetition on the battlefield. This is something that DICE can change, so it's not a huge issue, and you do see that in previous Battlefield games. Everybody runs medic and AEK, for example, on close quarters maps in Battlefield 4, and BF3 again has some pretty common loadouts. That being said, specialists are something that, in my opinion, have been put there to give more scope with the season pass and a bigger opportunity to bring in new specialists, generate a load of revenue, and move away from that more traditional, there are your 4 soldiers and that's it. I hope it pays off. It's a really interesting approach where you're going to have a lot more variety in the game, but again, it's got a big question mark above it. I liked the old class system. I thought there was more opportunity there to maybe have a few different medics, a few different engineers, and go down that route and keep the weapons locked to the classes. Again, I'm not totally against change. I want to see how this one plays out. I just think it's quite a big change. Maybe something that didn't need changing. We will have to see. I know this is shared by a lot of other people as well. A lot of other Battlefield fans. They thought the specialists straight away were maybe too much of a change from what we've seen in previous Battlefield games. The final thing that really has me excited on the one hand, but a little bit worried on the other, are these huge maps. Now, we've seen over the past couple of days, past couple of weeks, DICE have been releasing information leading up to that short Exodus film. All this information was really focusing on the locations and the maps, and we saw some concept art and we saw some bits and pieces relating to those maps. Now, big maps are fun, don't get me wrong. Some maps on Battlefield 4 are massive and they're really great to play, but for the most part, the most popular maps tend to be the smaller ones. That is because there's a lot more cover. And I know I go on about this with cover, what is it, why do you care about it, but being able to get away from incoming fire, wherever it's coming from, is essential if you're trying to have a good time in Battlefield. That is why maps like Rotterdam or Devastation of Rotterdam in BF5, Amiens, all of these maps that maybe have some more solid cover are really, really popular. Look back to Battlefield 3, Grand Bazaar, you've got Operation Metro, Seine Crossing, all of these classics that might be pretty hectic at times, but they tend to be smaller maps if you look at them, and that is what people really enjoy. Now, I've got nothing against the larger maps as well, Panzerstorm, Silk Road, Sinai Desert, these huge maps, but the fact that a lot of these 2042 maps are going to have loads of areas with no cover isn't exactly what I wanted to see in a Battlefield game. That being said, whilst it's a question mark, there are other experiences, and Battlefield Portal might be for me. That might be the experience that I choose to play, considering that I can play smaller maps that I've done in the past. We'll have to wait and see for this one, but it's one of those that, again, I've got to play the game before I can make a decision on it. And again, it's something that I'm a little bit apprehensive about. I want to wait and see how the game plays out. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you really on board with 2042? Do you love what you've seen? Have you been keeping up to date with all of the information that DICE have been posting? And are you looking forward to getting some hands-on time with the game? So this one was just a bit of an update on 2042 and my opinions on it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.